Like we're recording.
Yeah.
Woo! All right,
Cool.
fun time. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Bachelor Teacap, where we dish everything Bachelor related. Zoom session. A. And this week we're going to be discussing. I don't know how to address this. Okay, this week we're going to be discussing episode 3 of The Bachelor with Matt James. How should we start?
Sorry, I want to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but before we even start, we have some huge news in Bachelor Nation.
Breaking news. You've heard it here. Fifth.
Big break. Let me pull it up, actually, honestly. Freaking confirmed from Dale himself. Him and Claire are now spending some time apart. Are we surprised? No, but also drink to that because I was right.
I also think, though, his post sounded more like a breakup. It's not even taking a time apart. It's like that's
It seemed really official. They said they decided to go their separate ways. It was healthy for both of them. But yeah, we've heard these rumors for the past, I think, week or so. I think how they started was, I know Dale was out of town or spending time with his cousin, and his cousin posted a story saying something along the lines of like, oh, and then Claire unfollowed his cousin, and he's like something about like, don't just unfollow me, like tell it to my, I don't know. Basically, there was drama over social media with her unfollowing a few people and them changing the captions of their photos, but now it is confirmed they have broken up. And I wonder why.
I was like reading, obviously, like we don't know if everything's like fully confirmed, but like E-News, like a bunch of different sources were just saying how they were having like a lot of disputes and fights over like their living situation because she wanted to be in Sacramento like with her mom, and apparently like can you guys hear that?
He wanted to stay in New York with his family, with like for work and stuff.
Yeah. So apparently, like, he wanted to live in the city. They just wanted two separate things, but also like you kind of should talk about that before you get engaged with somebody. So like,
maybe
how that went
after like a week of knowing each other, maybe.
Exactly.
But
yeah,
rumors circulating too that he was essentially like coerced to propose. That if he didn't, everyone would be pissed. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, you're an adult, you know what you're doing. Engagement isn't like a funny thing just to do, and like you guys said, I mean, have those conversations before proposing, and good luck to them both. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I feel like all the news sources are saying like, oh, time apart, but I think him posting that, it's like, no, I'm done. Like, he's done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the episode starts where we left off last week with Sarah fainting. She pretty much said that she felt like she was blacking out. She couldn't see anything, and Matt halts the rose ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely tell the girls or the other women were annoyed, but they're also showing concern. So he steps out with Sarah and kind of gives her more time, and the girls are just sitting around waiting. Yeah, thoughts.
I remember like talking about this last week, how like we didn't know if it was gonna be like a medical concern or if it's just like her getting like worked up over everything that was going on. Like we truly didn't know because we didn't get to see any time with her and Matt after their one-on-one. So for like now to be confirmed, like she was like just kind of like working herself up, and like that kind of like led to her fainting. Like kind of concerning, but also like what's going on? Like why is she getting so worked up about their relationship when like everything, I mean, does she like need more reassurance? Like, I don't know. That's just where my head was at, like at the start of the episode. And I felt bad for a lot of the girls too, because there was like 5 or 6 roses still left, and all of these girls are just kind of like left on edge. Mm-hmm. So yeah, kind of stunk.
Well, they finished the rose ceremony. Like for that instance, yes, she fainted. Very much be concerned. He spent more time with her, like holding her. She's like, whatever. But at least it wasn't like interfering with anyone's time. Like his mind was made up. It didn't change anyone's decision.
For sure.
I feel like though, like their annoyance, like they're being frustrated with the situation, it's valid. Like if I was there, I'd be like, are you serious? Like if my name wasn't called yet, I would be like very anxious.
I did
Mhm.
you just cancel the rose ceremony? Let's just cancel the rose ceremony and everyone stays. Stemming off of last week's episode, so Marilyn ended up actually going home when we had that drama with Marilyn and Victoria. He chose Victoria. A little unfortunate, but I mean, we didn't really know much of her. It just goes to show that, like, if you're gonna act, like, I don't think he has time for drama. It's what it seems like to me.
My opinion with that is, if he didn't have time for drama, he probably would have sent both home. I mean, yeah, and
he didn't
producers. What was that?
He didn't have a date with her that week. So
Yeah, he have a yeah. I mean, to be honest, I feel like Marilyn wasn't really giving him anything to, like fighting for herself to stay compared to like other women that we've seen. Just because, I mean, I feel like that's just been like a constant thing, like women trying to fight for their time, like them really trying to like take advantage of the time that they do have. Like that's like the main topic of concern. So with her, it was just kind of like, okay, things were kind of like writing off anyways. Like you said, with like the last few roses, he probably had his mind made up. Like that whole instance happening with Sarah fainting didn't change anything. So
Anyway,
okay. Yes, Amanda.
Next group date.
Erotica.
Yeah, so they start off with Ashley I again. Like, is she on every season? Do they have to bring her in for every single date? Do they have no one else to pull from? Like, love the girl, but
is with
so she's in reading Chris Harrison's erotic novel. And then the challenge was before they even gone to the date, Chris Harrison, when he went to the hotel and was talking to all the girls, he said these next few dates are going to be pushing the boundaries. Like Matt's never done this before. He's a very like closed off guy. We want him to make him like as uncomfortable and as vulnerable as possible. So that's what, like, keep that in mind when you go to these dates. Like that's what the intention is to kind of like bear it all, get it as uncomfortable as possible, and push you to that limit of like opening up. So the date basically requires the girls to write basically like some smut about them and Matt and read it out loud to which is the rest of the girls. And it was pretty funny, a little uncomfortable, but like I thought it was funny.
When I was watching it, I was thinking like they were all like giggling like while reading the novel or listening to Ashley read it. And honestly, I feel like maybe it's because like I have read those types of books, like I don't get like embarrassed like listening to it.
Yeah.
Like I haven't read them all, obviously, but like I've read like a couple here and there. I don't know, like would you guys be embarrassed at all about like doing or listening to that or like, even doing that challenge?
I think like I don't know. I don't think I'd be embarrassed. I think it's just kind of it's more so just like funny. Like if everyone's just like in on the joke anyways, like it could be super duper funny. And the fact that they even have like the girls who like weren't like for like on the date, just like in the audience, like also hearing like what the girls wrote. It just like made it more fun because like everyone's involved and it's not like uncomfy, so to speak. But I don't like out of all dates, I don't know why they brought Ashley I for that date. I would have rather seen like Caitlin Bristow or like someone else, like whatever. But I thought it was funny. And everyone had some like good writing skills. I don't know. Like erotica?
Yeah, like obviously I used to read fan fiction. That's like all that is.
And correction, Chris's book is like a love story. Apparently there was just like that erotic scene. Also, why the heck are they plugging Chris Harrison's book? Like I just think this is so dumb. But
I think
wait, what was that, Amanda?
Why wouldn't they?
I mean, obviously they're gonna promote Chris wherever they can, but it's just like of all things, I don't know.
I mean, like the best place to promote it, his fans.
True.
I didn't think the date. I would feel a little uncomfortable reading it out loud, but it'd just be funny. Like I think it was like I don't think if you were to take it seriously, I think that wasn't the purpose of the date. You know, it's to be funny, to laugh, to like, you know, giggle and have fun and be raunchy.
I didn't want to like say specifically what people wrote, but like who kind of like carried the date and carried like the episode, in my opinion. And one of those people is Katie. Like I thought she was super duper cool, love about like the whole thing. Like, yeah, like we should all be open to talk about this kind of stuff and just like have fun with it. And who else? She was really cool on the date. Even like Victoria, even though like we all can't stand her, I thought that she was like being funny. Then someone else.
It was funny.
Rachel was kind of annoying me, but like I'd rather hear you guys' opinions.
Well, that's like the difference, I think, when it comes to writing is the fact that literally someone tells you, hey, write about like a romantic situation between you and Matt and the different ways you can go about it. Like you can be super, super raunchy like Katie and then to another level like Victoria, or you can be kind of like low key like Rachel's was and like Bree's was, you know, just like very PG. There was really no limits on it. It goes to show like how people's different comfort levels are and how open they are when it comes to that kind of stuff.
You guys, I have an unpopular opinion, and you guys might hate me for it.
Go ahead, say it.
I'm kind of hoping that Victoria has like a redemption arc storyline.
Yeah.
I found myself really enjoying her in this episode, and I was like, oh my gosh.
She was tolerable. She
Not
was
even
tolerable.
One, her outfits are so ridiculous, but just like the things that happen in this episode, we're going to touch more on it later. Even like watching her perform, like I actually liked her.
I mean, and that's what it is. I think when it comes to the show, we only see so little, but the guys say it, the girls say it, who are leads, like all say it. It's like there's a reason why I chose to keep these people around. Maybe you don't see it, but like I did. And no, she does seem like really funny. She kind of like says it as it is, isn't around the bush. And you can see she kind of like other girls, like she's becoming more friendly with people. So I think that's not an unpopular opinion. I think a lot of people, you know, felt that way too watching it.
What are your thoughts, sis?
On Victoria or the date?
The date, anyone like stand out?
I thought they were all kind of boring, honestly. Like, I feel like, I don't know. Obviously, it's TV, so you can only show and say so much. But I feel it seemed very, I don't know. I literally don't know because I just don't know how I would act in that situation. But it seemed like everyone was being super immature about it. Like, oh my God, you said like, I don't know, penis or something, you know? And it's like, I grow up. But also at the same time, I can't even imagine having to say some of those things like out loud to everyone. So I get it. But at the same time, it's like, all right, everyone relax. But as far as standouts, I mean, I went down that TikTok wormhole. What's her name? Kelly? Katie?
Katie.
Sorry, Katie. But I legit today just like stumbled upon her TikTok and she's so funny, but she's also like empowering and like who cares? Like this is stuff we should all be talking about. And I think that's kind of why I'm like teetering between the two. Like, oh, was it immature or was it actually like, yeah, these are more things that should discuss because it is a relationship. Although this is like fiction, whatever, like it's still part of your life. So,
yeah. Caitlin Bristow was looking on Twitter and she said not the same thing, but she's like, love seeing The Bachelor finally embracing like more like sexual things, like more like sexuality stuff because it didn't for so long. But then what I didn't, it's kind of similar to you, Amanda. I didn't think the date was like uncomfortable. People were giggling there. It's because of the environment. Like it's funny. I think we'd all laugh there. But I've seen a lot of tweets like from like Ben H and other people like, oh my God, I would hate if that was me and my mom had to watch me. Like if Matt's mom watching, like how uncomfortable. It's like, are you kidding? Like your son's a freaking bachelor. Be happy these girls are like talking so highly of him in these kind of scenarios. Like it hasn't happened yet. It'd be different if like they're talking about like what happened in the fantasy rooms. These are all like made up scenarios. Like no parent should feel uncomfortable listening to that. I think it's fun. So yeah, that was a great date. And then it goes into the
Wait, yeah. Sorry. No, repeat that. Because I was completely gonna like teeter towards the one-on-one. If I completely forgot about the cocktail and yeah, go ahead.
A few girls who weren't on the date were kind of like uncomfortable in the audience, but like laughing and having a good time. Like some women did say, like, "Oh, this is so awkward," like hearing everyone talk about him like that. But Sarah, as you mentioned earlier, she like was struggling with the date. She said, "You know, I just came back from this like, amazing one-on-one. I feel like my relationship is so strong with him, and it grew so much. And now I feel like it's just like a huge like slap in the face, like seeing him on this date with all these other girls and them talking about like all this like inappropriate stuff. Like it's just really like she took it to heart. The one-on-one card, I think no one was whatever, it doesn't matter. Sarah wasn't there, she's upset. Interrupts the date to pull Matt aside while Katie's talking to him. They're about to have like a serious conversation and interrupts to get some more time with him and confess how she's feeling. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is the thing, and I've said this before. If you want your man, you go get your man or woman, whoever, he, she, her, blah, blah, blah. And although I feel like this first instance, I was like, okay, whatever, she's in her feelings, blah, blah, blah. We, as an audience, know she has a lot of stuff going on at home. So I get it. I see it. I feel you. You want to get some reassurance. This made you uncomfortable. You had such a good date. Whatever. As I said on the last episode, I felt it in my gut, her panicking, fainting moment. I truly thought it was because she is having her doubts. Like, is this what I should be doing right now? Is this really going to be a man that I'm marrying? And I think ultimately, I just feel she needed that clarity. That was enough. She should have figured out what she wanted to do in that moment. They had a good conversation. He reassured her that he was there. I appreciated it all. I have different feelings about it as we continue the conversation to figure out what else happens from there. But if I were on the other side, I'd be livid. I'd be pissed. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be about it if I were any of those girls. Like, you had your time, you had a one-on-one, go away. But as someone trying to fall in love, yeah, do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. I was really mad at like that whole situation. I was really annoyed with her. And like, I don't know why, but I was just like, can you please just like stop crying? Like, I don't know why. And that makes me feel very insensitive because like, I understand she's going through a lot of emotions. Again, everyone's emotions on this show are valid. They're all trying to get that time. But I just felt like she already had her time. She had a whole freaking day. And it's so early on that you're having all of these insecurities already. So it's like you said, like maybe you shouldn't freaking be here. Like, you're not mentally and emotionally prepared for this process. Mm-hmm. And like, she knew what she was going in to this. Mm-hmm. Like, nothing that she was like, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. What bothered me was that like, so Katie goes back to interrupt them because she wants to get her time. And then Matt's just like kind of sitting there and she's like, well, what do you think, Matt? And Matt's like, well, I already told you, like, this conversation during dinner. And she just couldn't get the freaking hint. Like, she just wanted,
can we have 5 more minutes, please? Like 5 more minutes. I'd be like, no, you're not.
And then she goes to the group and tells them, I'm going to be the bigger person and come to you and tell you everything. It's like, this is not you being the bigger person. This is just you protecting your own ass because you don't want the girls to hate you. Well, they already do because you just interrupted their time.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with this show, and you said it, we've said it, it's like you have to know what you're going into. Granted, no amount of preparation or like mental prep could prep you for what that reality is. And none of us know what that's like, but I can imagine it's extremely hard. So yeah, you can prep yourself, but once you get there, it might release like a whole bunch of different emotions. Like maybe there's trauma there, maybe all these other things are being brought up from her, but it's knowing the time and the place, and that's always key. I think when you're dealing with so many people and so many different personalities, like if you don't want people to look at you in a negative light, then you need to be very well aware that everyone's going to react differently to whatever you're doing to them. So, yeah, you thought it might be okay to go interrupt a date that you weren't invited on. And especially during the time when, like, everyone is trying to talk with him, there are some girls who hadn't had a chance to talk with him. I think that's what they could have said to her was, hey, this isn't your time. You could have found time after our date, the next group date that you're supposed to be on. Like there was a bunch of different opportunities that you could talk to him after this. You didn't need to take up our time when it wasn't yours. And I think I don't know how to explain. I can't think of another word for it, but I think the way she acted afterwards, I probably would have done the same thing. Like, well, first off, I wouldn't have interrupted the date. But if I felt the need to do that, I'd apologize to girls, yes, but it's just you also have to like I think the blame's not always completely like on her. There also has to be like a sense of maturity and understanding that if someone is apologizing to you, then you accept it. You don't get to sit there and like act like you have some type of seniority or some type of like complex where you can't like forgive someone's apology. Does that make sense?
I do hear what you're saying, but again, like they weren't getting like a full apology because she wasn't like, she didn't even know what she was apologizing for. She wasn't explaining it properly. And so they're just like, what's going on?
So she tried to apologize, whatever, wasn't really very clear, was continuing to be upset, and she let her emotions like fester. And I think having that linger into the next day and her actions afterwards made it even worse. So that was all ruined, and some people didn't get to talk to him on that, and he ended up giving the rose to Rachel. I like her.
Is Rachel the one that Amanda likes?
I don't know. Yeah. We like her dress.
I'm indifferent.
I wish Katie would have gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
I just love Katie.
I do love Katie. I truly do think if her time wasn't taken away from her, she probably would have gotten that rose.
And made her look kind of like a B word too. It was like
she was like waiting around on the side.
And like, going outside to talk to Sarah, Victoria, talking to like everyone just like let it go. Like let it go. Let her leave. Let it go. You're not there to talk to her. She's not your friend. Like, let's go.
Victoria, that was so stupid. Like, you don't care about why she was there. Like,
that doesn't fake to me. She's like, I'm here. Like, I'm as your friend. Right. Like, love. But then, cut to later in the episode, we'll get to that. But what I was trying to get into is the fact that the next day, obviously, we get the letter that Serena P gets a one-on-one. I don't think she's present when they announce that either because she stays locked in her room. And so the whole next day, when knowing that all these girls are upset with her, she just stays in her room, doesn't come down at all. So Matt shows up there, ready for his day with Serena, wants to sit down and address everybody because of what happened at the date before. I think wanting to apologize for stealing that time and devoting it to her. And she's not even there. So what does he do? He goes upstairs and talks to her for like 10, probably 15, 20 minutes.
Probably they were all even like, that was a long 5 minutes.
I had someone.
But this like knows she's going through the motions. It's bigger than just, I want to find my husband. Like if any of us had to deal with something like that, God forbid. But also for me, like I said before, it's in her heart of hearts. She knows she's not going to stay there. Like, she knows she's not. Why are you interfering with everyone else's business and their time? Like, that's how I feel. Like, I respect you wanting to go get your mans. Got it. But there's a way to go about it. And I think it's to no fault of hers that he went and took time away from everyone else. It's his fault. Like,
well, no, I appreciate it because he did come down and he did say, that if anyone was in that position feeling that way, I would go check on you and I'd hope you'd appreciate. they'd appreciate that if roles were reversed. Like if, and that's what people need to realize. Like put yourself in that person's shoes. But it's just like,
But all I'm saying is, oh, Sarah, she's so annoying, whatever. Like, also, he's giving her the time. He can easily say, listen, like, she's not down here. Okay, I'm going to my date. So you obviously know he cares about her, which is great. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's just like my 2 cents on it. I just thought it was like an ill taste on his part. I think if she wants to stay in her room, let her stay in her room. Who cares? Like, why does everyone care?
But my thing is, with her staying in her room, is like, do you hear that tiny violin that she wants people to do? And it's like, that's what, like, it just comes off that way as a viewer. And I'm just like, I'm not here for it.
Yeah, like a lot of the girls were saying too, it came off so calculated.
yeah.
Like way too convenient for timing. Like one, it's one thing to not come down for the date card, whatever. Like if it doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. But he's coming down to like say hey and whatever and address everybody, knowing that he is about to go on his one-on-one date, and now like he is now taking time away from that one-on-one date. Again, like Alex said, like the tiny violin, I'm not here for it. I truly don't care. I understand if a lot of like your family matters are like now taking a toll on you, you're having all these doubts and insecurities, but just like come through with that. Come through with that, accept it, stop wasting people's time.
I think it's extremely frustrating as the viewer because we see both sides. I can see why she's so upset. I can see why she's contemplating going home. It's just unfortunate that she showed herself in this like light and was to herself and was closed off and wasn't able to have a conversation with the girls and like explain herself. But after there's so many personalities, and maybe like the first time she tried doing that at the date and a lot of people like jumped down her throat, it was just like, oh wait, walls up, I'm done. Like I'm not gonna be able to get through to these people. They're gonna continue to like hate on me. Like what's the point? And it's almost similar to like Marilyn's situation. I feel like, okay, this girl has it out for me and she ended up going home, It's just unfortunate. But we'll touch more on her because the story isn't over there.
All right. So Matt spends his time with Sarah, comes down, time for Serena's date. They had such a cute date, I feel. I wasn't really sure what to expect with her. She seems very like soft-spoken, a whisperer, as Amelia would say. And I feel like they just had such a good, chill date. They went horseback riding. She was like shooting the shit with him, kind of like, talking herself up. And then had like a little picnic, right? Like they made a little charcuterie board. But yeah, overall, I just thought it was super sweet and cute. I really didn't feel like, at least from what I remember, I didn't really learn a lot about her, but it seemed like they had a really good connection.
Yeah, I liked the banter is what I'll say. Like her personality, she just like seems like someone like I had to hang out with. Like she's just like really funny. I liked her. And it's nice because it's like when he said that name, when that name was called, it was like, oh, interesting. Like I didn't really notice her much, but then once on the date, you see her personality. She's like very sweet, bubbly, funny kind of girl. So yeah, that was a really cute date. And didn't really like learn much about their backgrounds, like Amanda said, but interested to see where it goes. Go out.
I did like their conversation though during their picnic date because they were talking about because she mentioned that her dad really wasn't for her going on the show. And he makes a toast and says like, oh, here's to unconventional living and breaking the norms, which I thought was really big just because I feel like in society, people are even like growing up, people have this expectation of, you're going to go to college, you're going to get married, you're going to have kids. And it's like this plan for yourself that people make for you. And he's like, and then you realize that this is not your plan. This is someone else's plan for you. So I just thought that it was, I don't know, that was just like very like, oh, like that's relatable. I guess.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up too. That was like the one thing I caught. Like I thought that was super duper cute for like him to say, and for her to kind of like be able to say like, yeah, like I'm not following like that linear kind of idea of life and like how you should go about it. Like I'm on the show, like super duper fun. And I didn't acknowledge until like the end of the date. She was 22. She's my age. Like, right? Like you literally wouldn't even expect it. She's 22.
Kind of.
I don't know.
Yeah, Sarah, I think, is also like 24. Again, very young. So imagine having to like deal with those emotions. Like, I think that was only like 2 years ago for me, but I go back to that time when you were 24. It's like difficult, but then that goes to show too. Like, well, Serena obviously gets the rose because it was a good date. What was the second good date? Did we even get to it? No.
Well, they did have. I wanted to talk about like, their dinner portion, Serena and Matt's dinner portion of the date. She asked him like, "Has he ever been in love?" And we've heard him like kind of talk about his like history with dating before, and like he thought like at his like in his early 20s, like he thought that he knew what love is, but it was just that warm feeling for him, like that now like reassures him like he hasn't been in love before. And like so this is like exploring something new. And he asked her like her dating history, and she's like had like one serious relationship, but then kind of like reassures to him, like, yeah, but I can like potentially see myself like falling for you. She's like, which is weird. Like she was like being like joking about it, like, yeah, I guess like you have that potential. I don't know. I just thought it was like really cute.
Yeah, she like cracks jokes, and I like. She also said something else too. He's like said he didn't really something he doesn't really date a lot. She's like, well, now you're dating like 32 girls. Like she was just funny.
I
But
like
yeah,
good vibes.
Good vibe.
But I like what he said though too, because that is so true. I feel like I talk to a lot of people like in my life, like my friends and stuff, who maybe dated like all throughout like middle school, high school, college, and you look back on their past boyfriends, they're like, oh, well, you were so in love with him. They're like, no, I would not consider that love. Even though they said it, even though they might have like felt at the time, with age, it's like he said, like your idea of love shifts.
We all agree that Serena had a great date. She gets the rose. We move on to the next scene, which is another like Sarah annoyance situation, right?
So while she's on that date, while Serena's on their date, the other date card comes out, and Sarah decides to make an appearance at the end of the night, comes down, just like sneaks her away and is like, oh, who's on the date? And then the girls kind of like have at it with her and really like jump down her throat, saying like, we're all pretty much upset with you, like you're wasting our time. Like, and it was super uncomfortable. It was super rude, ruthless, and really show people as like characters the way that you're gonna like talk to somebody like that. I feel like it just rubbed me the wrong way. Like I don't know.
They could have approached that way different. They could have like pulled her to the side and really sat down and talked with her, but instead they're talking at her. And yeah, I just
That's why I don't like Victoria. Like I liked her. Yeah, she's cool, but she's just saying like mean things, like low blows, like oh, like I don't know. She's like, we're not friends. Like no one's close with you. Like, because she's like, I feel like I got to know all you girls, and she's like, who is she talking to? Like, just like rude comments. And even like MJ was like really heated throughout like the whole episode about her, and was like saying like harsh things. Kit was being rude. A lot of people were just like, no, we're never gonna forgive you. Like your time here is gonna be horrible because of what you did. Like you keep wasting all of our time, and it's just like, well, fudge. Like after that, I want to go home too, because like no one's giving her the chance to even speak at that point. Yeah, she spent like majority of like the day in her room, but doesn't make you don't need to act that way. Like, and that just like I feel like their age shows.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I think there's a big difference of maturity levels there that you see that you don't necessarily see with like 30-year-olds versus 20-year-olds. And I mean, I'm not mature by any means whatsoever, but my whole thing is you're all upset with her, right? Like you're all mad and agitated and annoyed, but not one of you could say that stuff to her face. You feel better about bullying her all while you're together to make her even feel more uncomfortable. Like for me, it was just like,
Or
let
like saying
it go.
God, yeah.
Let it go. Like you should be mad at him for taking away your time this morning. If you have a problem with me, pull me aside. Like you really have to embarrass me, like on national television. Like that's the thing. Like I don't care what anyone says. At the end of the day, they all know what they're doing, and you want to show that kind of character on TV. Like if you have no shame being blatantly rude, I mean, again, like Alex, I know you said unpopular opinion, Victoria's cool. She has a great character, personality, blah, blah, blah. She is not someone I'm going to be hanging out with outside of the show because she doesn't have substance. Like she's cool, she's very superficial, but she obviously doesn't care about your feelings. And maybe we'll see that change, but I really don't think, one, she's going to be around much longer, and two, that any of those women, I don't care if you were just sitting there saying nothing, I don't think any of them handled that situation appropriately. And still, no one knows what she's going through.
Like you said, like I feel like silence in that situation spoke volumes because there are people there like cringing, like, oh my God, they're going in on her. But like, why wouldn't you take that moment to speak up and defend her or try to like, moderate the situation and be like, hey guys, like calm down, like hear her out. That was what really bothered me. And it's just unfortunate because I've said that like a billion times, but it's sad because I feel like none of those girls are going to face like repercussions for their actions. Sarah is going to like decide what she wants to do, but like it's not like Matt's going to know how they acted. Like, is he going to see that footage and hear like the things they were saying about her?
He probably will.
Yeah.
After that, like now while it's live, I'm saying.
But you truly don't know. And I wanted to like pinpoint something that you said because I feel like I do have like kind of like a hot take on this. Because I will like in that whole guys stop in that whole like situation. I was like truly trying to look from like both sides. Because you said like in that instance, if everyone's attacking her, like why isn't anyone defending her? But no one knows what they are defending, if that makes sense. Like personally for me, I think everyone's to blame. Sarah, more so, like how I kind of said earlier, if she just was transparent, because I feel like transparency is like super big in that kind of environment. If she was transparent from the start after and shooting on that date saying, listen, guys, I have this stuff going on at home. Matt knows of this. I guess this is very intrusive, and maybe she didn't even want to say to them. She doesn't owe them that. But that just gives them more insight to what's going on in her situation. So I feel like that's where Sarah went wrong. Obviously, none of the girls are going to pull her aside because they don't know her like that. Like, that's how I think. The only one who did have the decency to do so was Katie.
That was the next morning, but even after that, they're all talking there. I'm sure there's a lot of conversations that were happening because you see her also go to MJ being like, MJ, can I talk to you? And I'm just like, no, I'm really heated right now. It's just like, I hate scenarios where I feel like people are misunderstood. And it's just like, that's why it's so important to tell people like how you're feeling when you're feeling it and like write your story for yourself so that way people can't, make these things up about you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because for anyone who goes on TV, like make sure you're like vocalizing your things because then people just have, you give them the leverage to make up whatever thought they want about you based off of like action or whatever.
She's making herself look like she's feeling sorry for herself, and that's where the problem comes in. It's like you need to, like you said, just advocate for yourself. And I mean, people are like, "Oh, well, I'm too soft spoken." It's like, well, you know what? In this world, you're gonna be on reality TV. Kind of got to do it.
Yeah,
I understand they were all upset, but the main person who deserved to be upset and did not show that they were upset was Katie. Katie had her time really cut short. Like it was her time. And then she was the one was like, you know what? That was not okay. I think
No,
Katie's so mature. I like her so much.
I like Katie, but I don't think that's true, Al, because I think the people who should be most upset is all the people after Katie who didn't get to talk to him, because there were girls on that date, and that's probably, I didn't see it, but maybe that was like, was MJ even on that date?
No, but Kayla, for instance, like because she was just hearing things from all the other girls, and I feel like she kind of like had that like, ooh, I don't like that. Like she could already like get a read on Sarah. Like that's just the mentality that she probably had.
I also think it has to do with too, like how she's choosing to spend her time. Like,
Mhm.
let's have a pity party for you. You want us to come to you. You want us to nurture and cuddle you. And the thing is we're all trying to figure this out together, and you're choosing to like do that on your own.
Isolate yourself.
Yeah.
That's why MJ's like pissed, because it's like, I think it's more than just like, oh, you interrupted these dates. Like, I don't think it's that. I think it's all of us don't know what we're doing.
And also
For
making
sure.
friends. Like, I mean, these people can literally help you, like, just be a better person, maybe get a job. Like, this is all a networking thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I think like one thing that people are trying, like people aren't like acknowledging too, is we haven't heard all of these women's stories. Like we don't know what everyone is sacrificing. We're just focusing on this one person. So yes, it could be a little frustrating that she's getting the tiny violin when you don't really know who, like what people are going through and who's gonna like lust for this opportunity more than others.
Be a perfect example.
Yeah.
I
And
do
yeah.
feel like I'm not playing my tiny violin because of like her family situation. That's very
Oh
serious.
no,
situation.
no, no.
I'm playing my tiny violin for her because I'm just tired of her seeing her being antisocial in her room
Yes.
and not really reconnecting with
That's
people.
my
Well,
main annoying. That's my main annoyance with it too. Like completely.
Really disrespectful to the process,
Mhm.
and I think like looking back on like Nick Vile season, I don't know what instance it was. Remember when people were so upset at Corinne for like napping? Like,
Oh yeah, I saw people like making fun of that too.
and then like someone just spends literally their whole day in their room when all these other girls are taking the time to have to mingle with each other. Like, yeah, you might not always be in the mood to be like on camera or to be around all these people, but that's part of the process. And no, not one of you is better than the other or deserves like a different way of being treated. Like, you all signed up for this. This is how you're all gonna like. You all have to deal with it. Kind of. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Katie comes up to her in the morning and is like, "Hey, just want to let you know, like, I was not okay with that. That was extremely uncomfortable." And then they kind of have like a heart to heart. She's like, "Yeah, I made my mind up. I'm leaving." Opens up about her dad. Katie had a similar experience, lost her dad in 2012. So they connected on that. And that was really heartbreaking to hear. And I think that's when you start sympathizing with her. We're like, yes, of course. Like if that was anyone's situation and they literally don't know how much longer they'll have with their parent or someone that means so much to them in their life, you would go home in a second if you were contemplating anything. But then Katie, so she leaves, and then Katie, why I said that, Alexis, Katie then addresses the group, and they're all asking, like, oh, is she in her room again? Like, is she staying, like, she's still not down here yet? Has anyone seen her? And she's like, no, I talked to her this morning. She's going home. She went home. So she didn't even say bye to anybody. She just, like, got up and left.
Yeah. I wanted to.
You don't want people to talk about you. Huh?
I wouldn't say goodbye either.
I mean, and for what? Like, truly for what?
I think, the whole episode, we're just seeing her on a roller coaster of emotions. And like I said before, I knew in the last episode, not because of spoilers or whatever, like I think ultimately she had her date with Matt, and I really don't think she felt a connection, and she's just not saying it. Like, I think she's using excuses like, oh, this is so hard. I already like you. I'm going to leave now. No.
It's just like she left. She has a lot of things going on. That's fine. Better for her. I would not to want anyone to stay there if it meant compromising their mental health, their emotional well-being, anything like that. So I'm happy that she left. It was unfortunate because I think for Matt, you never want that what if, kind of like Katie mentioned. But Maybe she's still a little bit heartbroken about G-Eazy.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna make a joke
Okay,
back to
and
G-Eazy.
this is exactly why I want to say what I'm about to say. Because, yes,
I don't know.
well, I have no idea. But if this is my thing, with her dad having ALS, obviously that's going to be a big contributing factor in if you're going to go on the show or not. If it was big enough prior to her being on the show, she probably wouldn't have gone. Let's be real. She probably wouldn't have gone. I think if it was that big, not, I don't want to see it because this is not the right way to phrase it, but if it was that big of a deal for her, she wouldn't have been on the show in the first place. I think she took on this opportunity because she did want to be on the show. She did want to find love. She was genuinely interested in Matt. And when she met Matt, I feel like having that second one-on-one meant a lot. And she opened up so much in that one-on-one where she was like, oh my God, like, I'm already falling for him. Because you literally see her physically and emotionally struggling in the slightest of ways with him and these other women, like literally just sharing erotica one-on-one with each other. Like, and for me, it's like, if this girl can't handle this now, she's definitely not going to handle it in the future. And for me, it was like, I feel like she got way too into it too quick, like her feelings and emotions for Matt, to the point where the jealousy and insecurity was then taking over her. I genuinely feel like that's what happened. I don't think it had much to do with the family issue, more so than her insecurities. Because look at, like, if it was a family thing, I felt like she would have been more open to the women. Because she even said to some of the girls, like, "I like you. Like, like we have fun. Like, we're close." Like, she's talked to the women.
I think she would have said it too. I feel like a lot of times before the end scenario with Katie, when they were asking her and she was talking to the camera, she definitely mentioned it was like her insecurities, her jealousy. She can't handle it. So it's better to remove yourself now before your feelings can get even more in depth. And imagine being on like the overnights, the hometowns, like that's
it's gonna take a toll on you, like mentally too. And I feel like for me, that's also explaining why she's isolating herself from the other women, because she doesn't want to think about their relationships with Matt. Like, she doesn't want to like face that reality. And they kept saying that. She just kept wanting the validation from Matt, and that was that.
You really think she liked him that much?
I do.
I think she liked him that much. I think
as much driving her crazy. I can't hear this erotica, please. I'm sorry. She just
one date.
This is the thing. Everyone obviously is valid to their opinion. When you are leaving your parents who are in a bad state to go find love and you don't think it's there, you're going to go home. And that's my whole point is she can say whatever she wants. Oh, I can't handle this. I can't. No. If you are in love with someone, you will write it out and figure it out, and you're going to stand by that person, especially in this scenario where you know this is happening.
There's layers to this, clearly.
Say those things and it be a lie. It's like she's saying, I love him right now. It's just, even that girl said after her first one-on-one date, Serena said the same thing. I can see myself falling for you. This is a crazy process. I don't know how that can be. So she's in that way too, on top of everything else. Maybe she's just not comfortable with all these people, her parents, like all that stuff weighs on her too. So I don't think we can harp on her saying, "Oh, she just didn't like him. That's why she went home." There's a lot of reasons.
I hear what both of you are saying, and I do want to like say something briefly before letting Alex talk, because I know Alex wanted to say something, but I don't think if she did have any kind of like hesitation towards him, I feel like she'd be very vocal about that, because he's been vocal with her this entire time. Like, I truly do think that. And it doesn't make, if she truly didn't like him, it doesn't make sense why she was constantly trying to, like, her taking him away from the group date, him going to her and being like, you didn't have to do that. Like, thank you so much. And just like literally constantly kissing him, like crying in his chest. Like, you wouldn't see that affection. Like, that's just me. Alex, what were you going to say? Because I know you were going to say something when I was talking.
I forgot, to be honest. I just think that we're all going to have different opinions on this whole situation. And we talk about it a lot, to be honest. I really don't care to give her more time because she's already gone. I mean, unless she comes back, but
Honestly, better to leave now. I feel like leave now before your opinions can before you end up falling in love with the guy and wasting any more people's time. I feel, but it just again. I think no one won in this episode. That's how we can end it. I think the girls made a mockery of themselves, and I think she just didn't show herself in a very mature light when dealing with emotions. But it's definitely a lesson learned. A lesson learned for a lot of people who want to go on the show.
Know what you want going into it. Have expectations.
Know what you want. Be confident. Family first. Get your.
Also, I think know when to remove yourself and actually act on that, and don't wait so long.
Exactly.
Know in your gut when you want to leave. Leave.
Mm-hmm.
I quickly want to talk about her exit though, with her from the transition from her talking to Katie to talking to Matt to then being in the car leaving. Because I noticed this. And I don't know if other people freaking noticed this. And I was mad at me. And you're about to say what I'm about to say too. Okay? 2 things. Because I texted me about this. First, when she was talking to Katie asked her, genuinely, are the confrontation with the women, is that one of the reasons why you're gonna leave? And she's like, no, it's a bunch of different things. Yes, that is a contributing factor. But it's just me, and I know I have to leave. She says that to Katie. Also was surprised that even in the confrontation with all the women, I'm surprised no one once said, clearly there's something going on with you. Can you just be transparent? Let us know what's going on with you? Because clearly some of us are concerned. I'm surprised no one said that.
Well, I said that to her, whatever. Go on.
And then when she was talking to Matt, she was saying how she was attacked in the house and all the women were acting very rude and verbatim vicious towards her and her feelings. And he's like, what? Are you kidding? Who would even do that?
It's not a lie. It's not a lie.
Maybe exactly. She was wording it as if that is what was the freaking what do you call it? The something that broke the camel's back. What do you call it?
Yeah.
It was
she was wording it as if that is the reason why I'm leaving, because these women did this to me. That's the way she was phrasing it.
Phrased it that way for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think there could have been more to the conversation, 1, but also 2.
True.
We all said it though. Why would you stay after that? We literally all said it while we were talking here. Why would you say bye? Why would you stay? Mm-hmm. If he was worth it, yes, but obviously it's not worth it to her. It's not worth it. So she's going to put herself in that situation.
And I didn't expect her to say bye to the women. She doesn't owe them anything.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
I'm happy she said that though, because it's what I was saying. How would he know the way they treated and acted towards her?
But I just didn't like that. That wasn't the validity of the situation. That was not why she left, and she knows that's not why she left. And she was making then a villain out of all the women, when not everyone's to blame, because not everyone was coming at her. Truly, especially Katie. That's what kind of annoyed me. Because then it was. What was that?
Crocodile tears.
Crocodile tears. Yes, crocodile tears. Because then when she's in the car driving off, she's constantly covering her face. Matt is such an amazing guy. I just can't believe it. Not a single tear was running down that girl's face. Not a single one.
He keeps going.
Did she run out of tears at that point? I'm very confused.
Yeah.
I hate that we literally spent this whole hour talking about her, because at the end of the day, she's going through some things.
Agreed. I just don't moving into next week's episode. Obviously, they're teasing a bunch of girls showing up. So knowing some of these people's strong personalities, it's not going to go well. So
also, why are they doing that?
a lot of people are just very, very insecure at this moment because there were so many girls. There's so many that haven't even had a conversation with Matt, which is super surprising. All right, everybody. So this is the end of the episode. Thank you for tuning in. We did talk a lot. And I think the only thing I would say before leaving is be nice to people. You don't know anyone's stories. And even if you are in a predicament where you're upset with somebody, choose the path of maturity.
You never know what people are struggling with.
Take it from Katie. Be classy through the process. Okay?
All right, everybody. So we have to say our outro. Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Tune in next week for episode 4 of The Bachelor. More drama to come.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Woo!
Whoop, whoop,
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Cool.